Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Woo! Welcome back, traders. We have
I
an
wake up.
absolutely beautiful video today going over ticker symbol NIO, baby. Short for stock ticker Nio. And I wanted to give a shout out to everyone who is a member, everyone who is a subscriber, and all y'all who are liking the videos, especially on Nio. The Nio fam has been going absolutely ballistic. So keep on doing what you're doing. And let's keep on moving while we're moving. Bitcoin. I want to emphasize this because this may affect Nio and other stocks going into early market hours tomorrow, as oftentimes Sunday night price action will spill over into the early market open at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right? So you see Bitcoin fall under 65,000, 190 million liquidated in the last 15 minutes. That is huge, right? When you talk about just numbers alone and levels, but I am telling you guys, the storm is always at its worst before it gets better, especially when it comes to the stock market. And look at that, right? You have Jim Cramer also saying, always surprised, Sunday night futures are down. I do figure big gunners will come in and take them down 1.5 before we go to sleep. Inherently, right? Jim Cramer is such a, what is that called? A jinx effect. Right? Everything he says never happens. People actually bet against him. So it's kind of hilarious that the markets may be saved by that. All right. On to the next post. I want to give an absolute shout out to Cantonese Cat. All credit to him. Go subscribe to him. Do whatever, right? Love this gentleman. But he said over the last 15 years, when the Fear and Grid Index is at 10 or less on the SPX, majority of the time we're either at the bottom or getting close to it. So when you look at the Fear and Grid Index being at 10, look at the spots in which he highlights that we are at 10, not only on the Fear and Grid Index, but look at the RSI, right? Or this is actually Fear and Grid Index chart. I've actually never seen that. That's freaking fascinating. I gotta see that on TradingView. But you can see here where you've bottomed, right? And you've almost always either seen a relief rally and then made a lower low, or you've V-lined, right? These V-lines are a little bit more popular, especially during the Trump presidency. So I would not be surprised at all, guys, to see one last flush going into market hours and then to see a pretty hard V-line. And I wanted to emphasize the area that I think that you are potentially coming to on the chart, because when you see this, right, nothing looks good on the S&P 500 right now. And then we'll just give me a second and we'll relay this into Nio Stock, I promise, and I'll leave a thumbnail. But look at where you are currently, right? You are currently at 632, 34, 32 is a low. You have a gap fill pretty much flat at 600. I do think it's very, very possible here that you are still in a bullish run, right? But just like IWM, you have to come back and test your neckline. And this neckline from the breakout, you saw a big pop, right? But volume trickled. And as you saw that, right, now you're seeing sellers step in. You failed to hold the 200-day EMA, which is bearish inherently. And you're starting to see volume pick up here. So what I'm anticipating for Monday is, unless you see some kind of fundamental news come through at market open, I do expect a little bit of a flush here. And that's okay, right? That's okay. Because Nio has been outperforming the broader market, which is hilarious to me. But B, you have multiple gaps to the downside on Nio Stock. Whoops. Multiple gaps to the downside. So it would not be the worst case scenario if you fail this golden cross and go fill them. Of course, you want to see the golden cross hold, but what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? So currently, I think the level on SPY to watch is 604, and then the gap fill currently sitting at 595 traders. Below that, you have a scary hours gap fill. I say scary because it's 561, and that is quite a ways away if we were to flash crash down there. About 10% away. So God forbid that ever come into account, because Nio would be in the grave at that point. Not literally, but figuratively, right? In this drawdown, though, we do have a gap left at 644. So watch for that on the come up, just like we left gaps back here, right? We sprung back up. If you zoom in, you left a gap here, here, and somewhere along here, right? And so when you leave those technical landmarks, you typically see a crazy rally on S&P, and you go and fill those. So that's what I'm expecting for the S&P 500. Now let's get into Nio, baby. If you guys are this far into the video, make sure to slap the subscribe button, slap the like button, and let's keep going. All right, Nio fam, let's get into this because there's a lot to talk about on Nio Stock. When you look at the daily, you see multiple gap fills both above you and beneath you. Now, the ones that I want to focus on, the upside because you have a gap sitting at 659 that we were targeting off of this breakout, right? And from this bullish channel or this descending channel, whatever you want to call it, you did have a breakout, but you failed to hold it, traders. And we warned about this being a possibility, although it's not what anyone wanted, right? It is a possibility that you came back and you tested this golden cross. Now, in the best case scenario, traders, you have both the 200 and the 50-day EMA literally curling up. And we talked about this in our GameStop video, but this is the best case scenario. You can see you have gotten your golden cross officially on the daily time frame. Now, what you need to see is a kiss. You need to see this thing touch and bounce, wick off of it in a very, very meaningful and strong way, traders. If you fail to hold this, it is very possible that you see this thing death cross and you go and fill. The gap's currently sitting at, I think it's 459. Yep, 459 and then 481. Those gap fills would inevitably, right, be a higher low and then inevitably, in my opinion, not financial advice, a spring higher out of this channel, right? Because you have multiple touches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches along this sloping uptrend of support. And I do think if you go back to visit it one more time, that would be a phenomenal opportunity for anyone long on this stock. But there is the possibility, right, that maybe this Sunday night sell-off is overblown and you see some kind of consolidation. I think this is the least likely of the scenarios, right? You see some kind of consolidation here within this falling wedge or this channel before you break higher into, there we go, 40% move. That's crazy. Right? Let's say that move comes on the 10th of April. That would break you higher into this zone. And this zone is so important to what you do next, traders, because once you get outside of this channel, what you're going to look for is you're going to look for a gap fill of 659. You're going to look for the gap fill of 711. And then once you get past those two, traders, you're going straight to, let's highlight this, the most important technical landmark on this stock. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it perfect. All right. 771. Let's just be blunt, right? 771 is the most important landmark on this chart. You zoom out, right? Zoom out and go to the weekly if you are charting along with me, which you're more than welcome to do. We trade this like Bob Ross, right? These candles are all just happy little accidents, and you're welcome to follow along on your charts. So 771, you zoom out, right? You see the rejection, support. 771 literally was your blast off there and then was your rejection and support here. So you have had so many different different tests of 771, which makes it more important of a horizontal trend line. And when you see the severity of these sell-offs, right, it makes the coil tight, right? It makes the move that's going to come from this is going to be a strong one, whether it be rejection or blast through, right? And I do believe that you are going to find a blast through here from our technical analysis, that this being a shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, and that from that, guys, we know from taking the profit targets, I know we're getting a little moon boyish here, but taking the profit targets and using the extension takes you exactly into our $18 make 'em holler price target on Nio Stock. Now, I know that's hard to see right now, but I promise you, traders, in my opinion, not financial advice, the best is yet to come on this stock. The stock is set up. And when you look at the technicals, right, look at the weekly. You are currently retesting your golden cross. You've had a bang up week, up 22.5% on large volume, breaking the volume exhausted trend. From that, you've seen 2 weeks in a row selling off, but on lowering volume, both weeks. In my opinion, you're going to either fill the gaps, hit the trend line, or launch off of the golden cross. It's not, in my opinion, and if it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen. And I think that is the best, most comforting news as a shareholder that you could have when you look at the trajectory of your investment. So, not financial advice, but that is what I believe. The weekly looks freaking beautiful. You've come back to the 50-day EMA on the weekly, which is important because when you look at the past, right, you see the rejections from this. Rejection, March of last year, rejection, and then July of last year, you popped through. And when you popped through, you tested it, and then you sprung up to $8. Now you're watching it as a pop through on large volume and one bullish engulfing candle, and then you're retesting it right now. So that is huge when you look at the trajectory of where this thing could go. Now on the monthly time frame, you have a little bit of a spinning bullish top candle, but a large volume candle, which is freaking beautiful when you look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of consolidating, lowering volume before finally seeing a breakthrough on the stock, which is why when you look at Nio Stock and then you look at the S&P 500, what do you see, right? What do you see? SPY has been bearish. Nio genuinely is in a higher low scenario with bullish volume. Nio's actually outperforming the S&P, which is hilarious to me. You go to the quarterly time frame, you still have tightening MACD on the quarterly time frame, which would lead you to your first MACD cross on the largest time frame since 2021, traders. This is the absolutely most beautiful thing, the holy grail, right? If we can get this, I do believe that you will be in higher price action. And when you get it, guys, I expect volume. That is one of the most important things here, right? You want to see this thing follow through so that you can get bullish confirmation that you are starting your next leg up on the stock. So that is what we're watching for on Nio Stock here. We can go into the daily one more time just for y'all, and then we'll cover TradingView, right? So on the daily, it does look good here that you have lowering volume on each individual day, right? The genuine trend is down retrospectively. Now that could change once market opens. Maybe we flush, or maybe we hold strong at the golden cross, right? If you did bounce, I would expect something along the lines of this, right? Just genuinely trading sideways until you see a pop and a confirmation breakout. If you do not, right? Let's erase that scenario. If you do not, traders, it is likely you retest 540 or 560, reject, and opa, right? Maybe you fill that gap too. Who knows, right? Nobody truly knows. But when you have Bitcoin seeing this large of a sell-off, traders, you look at where it's already at, right? You've already recovered on the 1 minute chart, but genuinely, look at the daily. That's not good, right? That's not good. And then consolidation at the lows. That's not good. You need to see futures, and you need to see Bitcoin pop off. So that's what we're watching for the broader market and Nio on the daily. But when you look at, let's look at a couple things. Look at the monthly. Look at the RSI, right? Look at the few times that you've crossed the monthly RSI, right? Look there. Bottom was in, 65% the next month. Look here. Bottom was in, 41% of the next month, and then beautiful follow through. You've now broken out of it, retested it, and now you have the opportunity to spring, traders. It all looks good, in my opinion. It really, really does. Daily time frame. Let's see, anything special here. So you broke beneath this pennant, but now you could say bullish pennant out of the picture, right? Consolidation pattern, potential, right? Potentially, we'll see. Yeah, nothing there in terms of bullish divergence. I guess I was just curious to see if there is, but there's not on the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, I guess you could say a bullish test of the 50 line on the RSI oftentimes acts as bullish confirmation in a move, right? So you saw this blast off from 442 all the way up to the mid 621, right? That's a bullish move. But when you look at the RSI, right, the RSI is catching up. And when you get above the 50 line, oftentimes I think of this as a road, right? So when you're on the left lane, you're high flying, right? You're moving, volatility is there, cars are swerving, and everyone's going crazy, right? Beneath that, on the right line, you have slowdowns, intersections, merging, right? You have a lot of different things slowing you down here. But when the RSI is in the bull zone or the fast lane, right, I expect this thing to retest it. And if this is a bullish confirmation move, you're going to spring into overbought or the bull zone as we referred to it back here. You see your biggest moves and your most violent moves when you're in the bull zone. You could zoom out with me, right? Zoom out with me. And when you enter the bull zone is oftentimes when you see your biggest freaking move. This is on the weekly time frame, so take it with perspective here. But you enter the bull zone 32% in 1 week, right? Go all the way back. Enter the bull zone, 40% move in a week, right? So these things are beautiful when they happen, but it is when they happen, and we will have to see tomorrow. So I think that's all I got for Nio Stock, guys. God bless each and every single one of your families. Make sure to slap the like button. It helps the algorithm find me. And subscribe, because we're going to be here every other day covering Nio Stock, AMC, and the broader baskets. And that's all I got for today. Buy some merch. We got the Trap Trades merch out in the store. I'll leave a link to it below. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, and peace.